If you're a Christian entrepreneur wanting to learn how to infuse more of God within your business, and you're starting a business this year and you kind of want to know how to start a business with God, then keep on watching, because that's what this video is all going to be about. Hi guys, welcome back. And if you are new, hello, my name is Naquia, and this channel is all about business, entrepreneurship, lifestyle, and of course Christianity. And today is going to be a business Christianity topic, and today we're talking about 10 steps to starting your business with God, and we're specifically focusing on using the story of King Solomon in 2 Chronicles chapter 1 through 10. If you guys do not listen to my podcast, you know that I take a lot of my business and finance lessons and apply them to my life using a lot of what King Solomon did when running his kingdom as well as building the temple. Now, let me just say, because I know some of y'all gonna come in the comments and be like, yeah, but at the end of King Solomon's reign, he made mistakes, blah, blah, blah. I know, nobody's perfect but Jesus. There's so many things we can learn from King Solomon in his 40-year reign, as well as there's a lot of things we can learn as entrepreneurs that King Solomon did wrong at the end of his reign that we can also apply to our businesses to make sure we don't make the same mistakes. But today is not about King Solomon's wrongs. Today is all about his rights. So if you happen to have your Bible with you, make sure you open it up. I'm going to be reading from the ESV version, and we're going to be focusing once again on 2 Chronicles chapters 1 through 10. So go ahead, have you something to drink, grab some water, some coffee, some tea. I already have my coffee today, so... Oh gosh, I hate cold. I'm a room temperature girl. Also, if you guys end up liking this video and you're a Christian entrepreneur and you really just want to focus more on bringing God within your business, you also are going to love my Christian business podcast called Scriptures, Stories, and Strategies, where I take scriptures and stories from the Bible and then transform them into applicable business strategies so that way you always have God within the foundation of your business successes, trials. I also teach you basically how to use your Bible as also your #1 business and finance book. So if that's a podcast you feel like is going to be interesting and you can learn a lot of value from, you can find it on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, any podcast listening app that you listen to. Now, before we get into the 10 steps, I do want to say it's very important when you're starting a business to have a clear mission statement first. If you don't know what a mission statement is, a mission statement is a statement of the purpose of the company that you're starting, the purpose of the organization, or the purpose of you as an individual. And it can be a powerful tool when aligning God within your business. So make sure to include statement of values and missions on your website. That's easy to find for people who are just now finding your brand that might relate more to you just because it's a Christian found brand. Don't be afraid to let your consumers know that God is within all up in your business, okay? I was in church the other day and my pastor read a statement that said 97% of Christians do not share their faith. 97%. Let's lessen that number. Let's lessen that 97%. If you follow me on any of my social media channels, if you follow me on Pinterest, if you see my website, you will notice that I am a Christian because I talk about it proudly and boldly. I talk about it on my Instagram stories. I share my daily devotionals. I have my podcast. So there's so many different ways that I'm incorporating God within my life, and there's also different avenues that I use to share my faith with others who are interested, especially Christian entrepreneurs, because I really believe that within our business we should be having God along the journey with us, because without him we wouldn't have that business idea in the first place. Let's get into the 10 steps of starting your business in 2023 with God. If you listen to my podcast, you know that I always like to share a verse that's relevant to today's topic, so that's what I'm also going to do here on my YouTube channel. So today's verse that's relevant to today's topic is going to come from Proverbs 14:23, which says, "In all toil there is profit, but mere talk leads to poverty." This year, it's time to stop talking about what you're gonna do, right? Stop telling people you're gonna do certain things and you don't have any action put behind it. It's time to start doing what you want to do this year. It's start putting the actions and putting the dreams that God has given you and the skills that you have, and start putting those skills to use into building the business and brand that you desire, that God has given you on your heart. So let's stop talking about it and let's start doing it. And these 10 steps are really going to help you really start that business that you want. Let's get into the 10 steps. So let me share a little context for you in chapter 1 through 9 in 2 Chronicles, just so you have a little understanding of what we're going to be reading and how we apply it to our business. So King Solomon was the third king of Israel. His father was King David. Now, when King Solomon became king, I believe he became king when he was 20 years old. Don't quote me. I think he was 20 years old. And a little more context of what's happening right now in this story is that he was responsible for a huge task after his father died, which was building the temple. Now, King Solomon was the wisest man to ever live and will be the wisest man to ever live. And you can refer to this verse right here to see where I'm talking about. The reason why he was so wise and so successful in building the kingdom, as well as really successful in running his community within his 40-year reign, is all because, one, which is our first step in starting a business with God, he asked God for wisdom and knowledge. So let's go ahead and read 2 Chronicles chapter 1, verse 7 through, we're going to go all the way down to 12. So once again, the first step is to pray for wisdom and knowledge. And that night, God appeared to Solomon and said to him, "Ask, what shall I give you?" And Solomon said to God, "You have shown great and steadfast love to David my father, and have made me king in his place. O Lord God, let your word to David my father be now fulfilled, for you have made me king over people as numerous as the dust of the earth. Give me now wisdom and knowledge to go out and come in before this people, before who can govern this people of yours, which is so great." God answered Solomon, "Because this was in your heart, and you have not asked for possessions, wealth, honor, or the life of those who hate you, you have not even asked for long life, but have asked for wisdom and knowledge for yourself, that you may govern my people over whom I have made you king. Wisdom and knowledge are granted to you. I will also give you riches, possessions, and honor such as none of the kings had who were before you, and none after you shall have like." So let's summarize this and how you can apply it to starting your business. So with that first step, it's so important to ask God for wisdom and knowledge when it comes to running your business, because think about it, it's kind of foolish not to. God knows the past, the present, and the future. He knows the future of your business. He has ultimate knowledge. He has ultimate wisdom. And so why not tap into the same wisdom that Solomon tapped into in order to run your business in the way that God intends you to run your business? Make sure when you're praying and asking God for wisdom that you're praying from a standpoint of not being selfish. You should never be starting a business to make money, let's say. You should never be starting a business because you want fame or something like that. You should be starting a business as a Christian entrepreneur. You should be starting a business because you want to give back, because you have something that can really help other people. You have something that maybe make the lives of people easy, the lives of someone else's lives easier. So if God has placed something on your heart within your business or to start a certain business venture, then ask God, okay, well, what talents do I have? What skills do I have, Lord, that's going to help me with this? Because most of the time you already have every single thing you need to start that business. Sometimes what you need is that push, and that push is asking for wisdom and knowledge. Listen to what God is saying to you when you're praying about this, when you're communicating this to him, because he will tell you exactly what you need in order to get on the right step. So that's step number 1, is to ask for wisdom and knowledge. Step number 2 in starting your business with God is to use any income or wealth that God has given to you and use it as a tool to invest into your business. Maybe you need to purchase materials like inventory. Maybe you need to purchase like certain systems you need to operate your business. So use the wealth that you are given to start your business as a tool to help build your business. So if we look at 2 Chronicles verse 14, it reads, "Solomon gathered together chariots and horsemen. He had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horsemen whom he stationed in the chariot cities, and with the king in Jerusalem. And the king made silver and gold as common in Jerusalem as stone. And he made cedar as plentiful as the sycamore of the Shephelah. And Solomon's import of horses was from Egypt and Cu, and the king's traders would buy them from Cu for a price. They imported a chariot from Egypt for 600 shekels of silver, and a horse for 150. Likewise, through them, these were exported to all the kings of the Hittites and the kings of Syria." Notice how in these verses, Solomon uses his wealth to employ people and to gather materials that he needs to build the temple. He also made gold so common and it was accessible to everyone who was in that area. I want you to take the same approach when starting your business. How can you use the resources provided to you to maybe help someone else within your business make their lives easier? How can maybe you provide something within your business that makes it accessible for people? That can be maybe the price point, That can mean maybe being able to offer all your items online, maybe having downloadable things just so people can access your products quicker. How can you also use the resources and wealth given to you to outsource to talent that's really going to help you build your business in ways that you may not know knowledge of? How can you use the wisdom given to you to really understand any employee, contractor, or freelance that you do hire, so that way you know exactly where to know exactly what to delegate to them, because their talent is specified and that skill. How will the knowledge of understanding with certain materials, or let's say with fabrics, or with certain systems you're going to use within your business, will help create products for your customers that they will end up loving and want to come back for more, or maybe share those products or services with their friends. Now let's get into step 3 in starting your business with God, which we're going to start in 2 Chronicles chapter 2. So step number 3 is prepare. After you have asked for wisdom and knowledge, and after you use that wealth and knowledge to invest into like tools and employees and outsource for your business, the third step is to prepare to build the business, basically meaning setting up your systems and also doing research. I want to read a few verses in 2 Chronicles chapter 2, starting with verse number 1 in the 2nd chapter. It says, "Now Solomon proposed to build a temple for the name of the Lord, and a royal palace for himself." Then I'm going to skip down to verse 7, and I'm going to combine all this together in a few. But in verse 7 it says, "So now send me a skilled man to work in gold, silver, bronze, and iron, and in purple, crimson, and blue fabrics, trained also in engraving to be with the skilled workers who are with me in Judah and Jerusalem, whom David my father provided. Send me also cedar, cypress, and algum timber from Lebanon, for I know that your servants know how to cut timber in Lebanon." And then I really want you to focus and meditate on verses 11 all the way down to 16. Because, and I'm not going to read that here because it'll just make the video way too long, but really meditate on that as well. And here's what we can take from all of it. First thing I want you to pay attention to is that Solomon used the resources that he had to prepare a palace for himself. Now wait, this is not a selfish intent, but I also believe it's a smart move. See, Solomon building his palace in the same place he's building God's temple signifies a close connection between the two houses. So I think that's honestly kind of smart. So what does this mean for your business? So 1, you want to make sure that when you are starting your business, you have a dedicated place to conduct your business. So whether that be an empty room in your apartment that you can turn into an office, whether that be a membership where you have co-working spaces, maybe that is a warehouse. So you want to make sure that you have a dedicated space where you can go and conduct work, because it's really going to be important to help you not be distracted and help you be productive and really get the stuff and the work done that you need to be getting done and within a day. Also, I want to say that this whole section also talks about the use of systems, and building systems within your business is so important. So automating different processes like emails or welcome email sequences, maybe automating your social media content. If you can find systems, and these don't have to be people, but these can be like certain systems that, or certain apps or platforms that you can use within your business that would just make your life so much easier, so that way you're not working for your business 24/7, all right? So now let's get to the 4th part of starting your business, which is actually in the same section, which is in 2 Chronicles chapter 2. Number 4 is making sure that you're building relationships and you're networking with like-minded people. You know that quote, sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. And so in this section here, we're introduced to someone named Hiram, which was the king of Tyre at the moment. And he actually had a really close connection with Solomon's father, David. And so what Solomon did as soon as he became king and he had this wealth and the resources, he asked King Hiram for skilled workers. So basically for recommendations for skilled workers that he can use to help build his kingdom. Verse 11 right here, he says, "Then Hiram the king of Tyre answered in a letter that he sent to Solomon, 'Because the Lord loves his people, he has made you king over them.' Hiram also said, 'Blessed be the Lord of God Israel, who made heaven and earth, who has given King David a wise son, who has discretion and understanding, who will build a temple for the Lord and a royal palace for himself. Now I have sent a skilled man who has understanding, Harambabi, the son of a woman of the daughters of Dan, and his father was a man of Tyre. He's trained to work in gold, silver, bronze, ironstone, and wood, and in purple, blue, and crimson fabrics, and fine linen, and to do all sorts of engraving and execute any design that may be assigned him with your craftsmen, the craftsmen of my Lord David, your father. So this was a relationship that Solomon sought out because it was already a strong relationship with his father. So when you're doing this also within your business, think about the relationship that you have built in the past, maybe through Instagram DMs, maybe through your comment section. And what are other creators out there or other business owners out there? Tap into their network. They may know somebody that can help you build a website. They may know somebody that can help you with social media marketing. And it's something knowing from firsthand. Always still do your research, but it just can take a lot of stress off if you know that this person has worked with this person before, and this person has also shown that the person that you're interested in hiring has like a good work ethic. They gave the results that they said they would give. They have great communication. So tap into the networks of other people and build strong relationships. And that's what King Solomon did. Once he became king and had the resources, he went to the people, or he went to he went to Hiram because he already knew he had a strong connection with his father David, and he wanted to keep that connection strong. And look what he got out of it. He got a skilled worker that could do every single thing that King Solomon was looking for and more. I also want to add on top of that, make sure that the connections that you're keeping close actually love the purpose and mission behind your business. I love that King Hiram, he actually says that in verse 7, because the Lord loves his people, he has made you king over them. Blessed be the Lord, the God of Israel, who made heaven and earth, and who has given King David a wise son. So the fact that he's honoring King Solomon's God is an amazing thing, because King Solomon could have went to anybody, right? But the fact that he went to somebody who really understands the connection between God and what he's doing through Solomon, it just really builds that foundation of a really good, solid friendship. Build connections with people who actually see value in what you're doing as a Christian entrepreneur. It's really gonna go a long way, and I feel like they'll just understand you more and what you're seeking for, and they can really lead you to the right people to help build your business. So the fifth step into starting your business with God is to finally take action. So we're going to refer to 2 Chronicles chapter 3, where Solomon starts to build the temple. So it reads in verse 1 of chapter 3, Then Solomon began to build the house of the Lord in Jerusalem on Mount Moriah, where the Lord had appeared to David. Now I'm going to stop right there because this is really interesting. The same place that the temple was built was actually a place or area that has a lot of significant places in history that happened in the past and in the future from this point. So for example, this area in the future is the same area where the Last Supper took place. It's also the same area where Mary is said to be buried, as well as where David is said to be buried. Before the building of the temples is also the same area or place where Abraham was about to sacrifice Isaac. So this location is just so interesting that he chose this. I think it just builds more of a foundation of like, this land right here is just really important, and he really cared about the foundation of where he was actually building this temple. And how can this apply to your business? Well, I'm gonna get to the take action part in a few, but maybe you are a brick and mortar store. Location is so important, because if you're in a location where people are barely going to pass by your business, then you're going to lose out on customers who don't even know you exist. So if you are a brick and mortar store, really pay attention when you're working maybe with a realtor, is to pay attention to location. Now, location can also transfer to online when it comes to visibility. Where is your brand located online? Are you located on the social media channels that your consumers are on? Are you located online on your own little hub, so like your website? So make sure that you also have a good location presence online as well. Now, when it comes to taking action, it's pretty self-explanatory. So this whole section here is all about him actually basically putting everything in action. He has a skilled worker, he has the wealth he needs, he has the knowledge, he has the wisdom, he has every single thing he needs. He has the system set in place to start actually putting into action the temple that God has given to him through David. The sixth step to starting your business with God is to make sure you have a unique selling point, so that way your business actually stands out. We're actually going to refer to chapter 4 in 2 Chronicles. And I'm not going to read this whole section because it's long, but this section is called the temple's furnishings. And if you really take your time to really read this section, what it's basically doing is King Solomon is in a point where he's designing the inside of the temple. And if you really pay attention to how intricate and how just, if you picture in your mind him building this temple, it's beautiful, right? So how can we apply this to our business? Well, that temple stood out in that day. That temple, there was no other temple that looked like God's temple that King Solomon built, and there was no other temple to this day that even remotely comes close to how that temple was built, the materials used to build that, the engravings, the skilled workers that went into building that temple. There's nothing like it today, and there was nothing like it before then. So the same way, you want to bring that into your business. What can you do that's different, that stands out from the rest of the competitors that you have out there? Because it's business. You are going to have competitors. There are people who are going to be selling the same thing that you sell, conducting the same services that you do, but what makes you stand apart? What systems in your business, what employees in your business, what missions in your business, what products, what fabrics, what outsourcing, there's so many different things that can happen within the inside of your business, just like with the inside of this temple, that you can make different, that will really just make you stand out from your competitors, and also make your consumers or your target consumers choose your business over the next. Step 7 into starting a business with God is to give gratitude, right? And especially give gratitude to the people who help you build that business. Chapter 6, where it's called Solomon Blesses the People in 2nd Chronicles, and I'm just going to read the first 3 verses. So verse 1 says, Then Solomon said, The Lord has said that he will dwell in thick darkness, but I have built you an exalted house, a place for you to dwell in forever. Then the king turned around and blessed all the assembly of Israel, while all the assembly of Israel stood. So keep in mind, as soon as your business launches, anybody that you hired as a contractor, as a freelancer, or as a permanent employee, how can you give thanks to them? Because you couldn't have gotten to that point of launching your business without them. Now, maybe you don't have a team, right? There's the ways that you can give back and thanks. People who have actually purchased from you, like maybe your first people who purchased from your brand, how can you say thank you to them? So maybe that's a coupon code that you give to maybe the first 10 people that buy a product from your website, right? Or maybe that's a coupon code to anybody who joins the Instagram live right before your launch, because those are going to be the people that are really interested in your business, and why not give back to them? So if you don't have a team, you can do that. If you do have a team, find a way to give back to your team members just to say thank you, because without them, you probably wouldn't have gotten as far as quick as you have. So in that section I just read in 2nd Chronicles, once the ark is brought into the temple, not only does he bless and thank the people, he also blesses the work that they did. So in the same way, now that the Lord has a dwelling place in the temple at that time, after you fully launch your business, now God has a dwelling place within your business foundation because you followed the first 6 steps. So now let's get into step number 7, which is giving thanks and showing gratitude to God, and also remembering your mission. So don't ever forget the wisdom and knowledge God has given to you to start this business. Don't ever get too prideful if you start making a lot of more money, or feeling like you don't need help with certain things anymore because your business got to a certain point, so you think it can just grow on its own. Never get to a point where you become too prideful, where you just forget the main reason of who gave you this business idea in the first place, as well as who gave you the wisdom and knowledge to get this business to where it's at this time, or whatever time that may be relevant to you. Meaning, do not let your business become an idol. Don't let your income get in the way of how you conduct your businesses, for the worst. So let's say you're starting to make a lot of money, but now you want to use cheaper materials now because you're trying to keep more money within your business. So you switch from using really good materials to cheap materials. And that way, what do you think is going to happen? Your customers are going to notice, and you can lose trust right then and there, because customers talk, customers leave reviews. And as soon as you change the quality of something, your customers are going to know, and that right there can just lose out. And then they're not going to trust you as a brand anymore, because maybe within your mission statement, especially if you have Christian values within there, you're just going to lose that trust in you as a brand. Don't let the income you get from your business change the way you treat your employees, change the way you treat your contractors or freelancers. Don't take God out of your business by dishonoring his plan. If he has told you certain things he wants you to do within your business, or if he has told you that he wants you to do this for certain people within your business, and you just like, well, I'm gonna do my own thing now because I made it, I'm here. Honey, I hate to say it to you, but that's not good. Just remember why you started your business. Remember why God gave you this business. And remember everything he has given you within this business to get to a certain point once you do start making revenue and generating income for your business. So in chapter 7 of 2nd Chronicles, Solomon actually has another dream in the middle of the night. God comes to him in his dream saying that he has actually heard his prayer and gratitude, and he's pleased to dwell in the temple that Solomon built to him. So at the end of the day, do not forget to thank God. If I have not said that already within this step, do not forget to thank God for your business. Every single day, pray without ceasing. You can always be praying for your business. Then if you read in chapter 7, verses 19 to 22, God also says in this vision or in this dream, he actually warned Solomon, which is why I told you before in this step, do not forget where you started. Don't forget why you started your business. Don't forget God within your business. And so let's read verses 19 through 22. It says, but if you turn aside and forsake my statutes and my commandments that I have set before you, and go and serve other gods and worship them, then I will pluck you up from my land that I have given you, and this house that I have consecrated for my name, I will cast out of my sight, and I will make it a proverb and a byword among all peoples. And at this house which was exalted, everyone passing by will be astonished and say, why has the Lord done thus to this land and to this house? Then they will say, because they abandoned the Lord, the God of their fathers, who brought them out of the land of Egypt, and laid hold on other gods and worshipped them and served them. Therefore he has brought all this disaster on them. So the same way God warned Solomon about turning away from his command is the same way that we can approach what our business missions and values. Just think of God taking away what he has helped you build. How your community looks at you and is like, I wonder why God is so harsh on you. Okay, so step number 8 in starting a business with God in 2023 is to give back and celebrate your accomplishments. I want to read a verse actually from Hebrews 13:16, which says, and do not forget to do good and to share with others, for with such sacrifices God is pleased. And then actually in Matthew 10:8, and I'm actually reading on my monitor over here, it says, freely you have received, freely give. And then I also actually want to read this insert from my podcast episode, because I think it also is really important when it talks about basically celebrating our accomplishments as well as giving back. That he actually even gives a house to the Pharaoh's daughter, which also becomes his wife. And even though this house was separate from God's ark because of her paganism, she still had a beautiful place to lay her head at night. What can you do within your business to help give back to your community? What can you do to celebrate your accomplishments, your business milestones and achievements, because you deserve it too? The 9th step of starting your business with God is to make sure that you're actually positioning yourself, if you're the face of your brand, or your brand as authoritative and credible and trustworthy within the industry. I'm going to read verses 1 through 9 of the 9th chapter, and then we're going to apply this to our business. So it says, now when the Queen of Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon, she came to Jerusalem to test him with hard questions, having a great retinue and camels bearing spices and very much gold and precious stones. And when she came to Solomon, she told him all that was on her mind. And Solomon answered all her questions. There was nothing hidden from Solomon that he could not explain to her. And when the Queen of Sheba had seen the wisdom of Solomon, the house that he built, the food of his table, the seatings of his officials, and the attendance of his servants, and their clothing, his cupbearers and their clothing, and his burnt offerings that he offered at the house of the Lord, there was no more breath in her. And she said to the king, the report was true that I heard in my own land of your words and of your wisdom. But I did not believe the reports until I came and my own eyes had seen it. And behold, half the greatness of your wisdom was not told me. You surpassed the report that I have heard. Happy are your wives, happy are these your servants, who continually stand before you and hear your wisdom. Blessed be the Lord your God, who has delighted in you and set you on his throne as king of the Lord your God. Because your God loved Israel and would establish them forever, he has made you king over them, that you may execute justice and righteousness. Then she gave the king 120 talents of gold, and a very great quantity of spices and precious stones. There were no spices such as those that the Queen of Sheba gave to King Solomon. So as you see, the Queen of Sheba was a skeptic, right? She heard about King Solomon and everything that he did and everything he was able to do through his God. And she was like, I gotta see this for myself. First thing I want you to notice in the beginning of chapter 9 is that King Solomon was able to answer any single question that she had, and he didn't hide anything. And we should take that same approach within our business. We should be sharing the materials that we're using. We should be sharing how we're building, how we're making those materials, where we're sourcing those materials from. If you're selling products that people are inhaling or people are eating, you should be sharing ingredients and nutrition information. If you are providing a service, you should be talking about your expertise in that service field and where you got your education from to provide such a service like that. And when somebody asks you a question, I'm not saying you have to know the answer to every single question people are going to ask you, but you should know how your business started. You should know exactly why you chose certain products, why you chose certain services, why you are conducting certain business manners in the way that you do. So when somebody comes and asks you, especially customers or potential clients, you should have an answer for it that really satisfy their appetite, so that way they're one step closer within the customer buyer journey to pick you as the brand they want to purchase from. I also want to point out that the Queen of Sheba noticed how well, like, the wives were happy, noticed how well the servants were dressed. And this is the same way we can apply this to our business, right? Especially if you have a brick and mortar location. So when people are coming into your store, they're looking at your employees, they're looking at how your employees treat them. They may be looking at your merchandising, and if it's clean, if your store is clean, like, there's certain things that people notice before they shop from you. The same thing transfers to online. People are going to the review section. People are looking how you take product photos. People know if you're using stock photos or your own photos. People are reading your product descriptions, and if it reaches out to them, then that's one thing that just going to make them maybe purchase even more. So just keep in mind that the way that you treat your employees, the way that your employees present themselves to potential customers, the way that you maybe build out your services, or the way that you use certain products or certain ingredients, all make a big impact on how successful your business can be with the customers that you're trying to acquire and the customers that you are trying to keep. Queen of Sheba also says that she can tell that the servants and the wives were happy, but they weren't forced to be happy. They really and truly enjoyed being there in the kingdom. And the same way for your employees or your contractors or your freelancers, they should be happy to work with you. And if someone were to come and talk to them about their position or their job, you will want them to say good things about you, and they're truly happy and nothing is feeling forced. The last thing I love is that the Queen of Sheba really respects our God. So she respects the one true God, which she may not believe is the one true God because she's Egyptian, so she has pagan gods, but she has respect for Solomon's God, and she says that. And that's why I also said building business relationships is a good thing. And you want to make sure that you're building relationships with people who actually love your value, love your missions, and see the purpose in your brand, or see the purpose in you being a Christian entrepreneur, can actually see that throughout the way you handle or run your business. So the 10th step to starting your business with God in 2023, to make sure you're touching souls all around the world. I always like to say that your business is not in one place, especially if you have an online business, which nowadays everybody can shop online. So make sure your brand has an online presence. But there's going to be customers all around the world that might find your brand. As you start to grow more in visibility as well. And so the more people that you can touch with the mission of your business, the more people you can touch with the quality of your products, with the quality and the results of the services that you provide, the more that your business is going to be spread to other people. Just like how God told the disciples to go make disciples out of everyone in the nation, everyone in the world. And so your business can kind of take the same approach. I'm not saying that everyone is going to be your ideal customer. There's going to be people who just don't want to buy from you for their specific reasons. But once you grow to a certain point, you want to make sure that you're really touching souls all around the world. That can be through giving back. That could be through giving your time to volunteer somewhere where your business has really impacted a certain community. That can mean giving back to your employees, your freelancers, your contractors, giving back to your customers, the people who are loyal customers at that, who always open up your emails, who are always purchasing something from you. What can you give special to them over people who may just shop from you and never shop from you again. Also, when I say touch souls all around the world, a lot of brands have the dream to be globally recognized, have customers all around the world. And then in 2nd Chronicles chapter 9 verse 22, I'm actually going to read it. It says, "Thus King Solomon excelled all the kings of the earth in riches and in wisdom, and all the kings of the earth sought the presence of Solomon to hear his wisdom, which God had put into his mind. Every one of them brought his presents, articles of silver and gold, garments, mirrors, spices, horses, and mules, so much year by year." And just to apply that to your business, in the same way Solomon was sought out for his wisdom, or for him as a person, your business can also be sought out as well from a customer standpoint, or maybe someone who actually wants to inquire on how they can work. Think of customers seeking out your product over anybody else's in the world. Think of the customers gifting their gift, so their money, to your products, and that's a gift they're giving to you. They're exchanging their money to get something that they really believe works for them, which is just an amazing feeling at the end of the day, because that just builds customer loyalty. So starting a business with God doesn't have to be challenging, and I hope these 10 steps of starting a business with God in 2023 really helps you understand how you can apply 2nd Chronicles chapters 1 through 10 or 1 through 9 to your business in order to make sure that every step of your business journey has God within it. Remember to pray for guidance. Remember to surround yourself with like-minded people or individuals, even when it comes to who you're outsourcing or internally hiring. Make sure to give back to your community once you can. Make sure you make ethical business decisions. With God on your side, you can be confident in the success of your business. So that's it for today's video. If you want to dive deeper into this topic, I do have a podcast episode on this topic that I'll also link down in the description box that you can access. Once again, you can access my podcast, Scripture Story Strategy, on any podcast platform that you listen to. And I take this topic here and I basically just go deeper into it if you're interested in learning more. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next video, and thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to comment and subscribe, and turn those bell notifications on so that way you're notified every single time I post another Christian business video to help you include God within your business.